but I superimpose the idea of rope on it, the snake on it. But when the light is clear and I see the snake disappears, then the rope is seen clearly. Rope shines forth clearly. Similarly, by studying the scriptures, all our false notion about ourselves falls down. And in the state of turiya, in the state of meditation, all our false identification with the body, with the mind, with our personality, it falls off. And when it falls off, my real nature shines forth by itself. To know myself is to be myself. Other than me, everything I know it as an object. But the self cannot be known as an object. You can be the self, you cannot know the self. Therefore, this term aprameya is very interesting. So, anashinaha aprameyasya, of this aprameya, of this anashi, of this shariri atma, the deha is destructible, but atma is undestructible. Therefore, hey Arjuna, tasmat yudhyasva. Therefore, hey Arjuna, you fight. Now, your fight is not a order given to every one of us who study Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, now fight. Then it will be totally a strange thing. So here Arjuna was confused regarding his duties because of his misunderstanding about the nature of the self. That Bhagwan removes, and he says that you don't have to have this misunderstanding. You are a Kshatriya and your duty is to fight, so you fight. You perform your duties. You perform your duties. In that process, if somebody dies or something happens, that is part of that process of duty only. So, here for Arjuna it is fight. For all of us, whatever duties we have, we continue doing it till our mind becomes absolutely pure and we gain all the misunderstanding gets removed and we gain the realization of our own self. So, tasmat yudhyasva bharata. Okay, so this is very good, but there was one more problem or one more disturbance or disturbing thought which was there in Arjuna, was that he felt that he is the doer of this action. He will be killing them or they will be killing me. So he thought that I am the doer of this action. So Bhagwan clarifies this point here, it's also very important, wherein he says the Atma, the pure self, is not a doer. He says, Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschenam manyate hatam ubhav tau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate ya enam vetti hantaram. Ya enam vetti hantaram. Bhagwan says, whoever that person may be, enam atmanam, this self, vetti hantaram, thinks or feels or assumes that this self is the one who will kill, is the killer or the slayer. The self is the slayer. Or yahacha enam manyante hatam, or a person feels that self is the one which will get killed. Means when Arjuna shoots the arrow, if he feels that I am killing the self, and if he is being hit by the arrow and he feels that I am dying, the self is dying, then both this understanding is not true, is not proper. Because as it was said earlier, the self is eternal. The body undergoes change, the body may fall down dead, you can say, the body undergoes all this effect, but the Atma is neither the doer of action nor the enjoyer of the fruit of action. In that pure self, there is no sense of doership or there is no sense of enjoyership. It is merely, it gives presence. In its presence, all this play, all this drama of this world happens. These are very serious and very deep, sublime truth, which might not be obviously acceptable in one go, but slowly and steadily it will become more clear. It's like on a screen, again, that example of a screen, the movie is going on. And in that movie, the hero is there and the villain is there, they are fighting. So when the hero is hitting the villain, that screen is not hitting the villain. And when the villain is getting hit, again the screen is not getting hit. The screen remains untouched by the hitting and dancing and jumping and whatever is happening in the movie. Similarly, the Atma is neither the doer of action nor the enjoyer of the action. The question about then who is acting and how actions are happening, that will become when we come to the question of karma yoga. Everything will be, all the questions. See, when you listen to Bhagavad Gita, a lot of questions will be generated. Maybe one day, I'm thinking maybe in the next session when we are having the yajna after concluding this second chapter, we can have a question answer session. So all the questions which might come in your mind, you just note it down. Many of those questions will get answered as you listen. But if some questions remain, then in the next session, one day we will keep only for questions and answer. So I will reply to all those questions. But now you just listen, and if question is there, note it down. So here the point which is revealed here is Atma, the pure self, is not the doer. It is mere pure existence, like a space. Space doesn't do anything, but in space, everything happens. So if everything is happening in space, then, and there is some other mechanism which makes those everything happen. Space is not acting. Space is just giving its space, it is just giving it existence to those objects. Like there is movement of the sun, the moon, the planets and all. It is happening in space, but space is not making them move. Similarly, everything is happening in that self, but self itself is not the doer. The doing happens at the level of the body. The doing happens at the level of the mind. The doing happens because of the gunas. We'll discuss in detail later in the other chapters. But the self is not the doer. Our Gurudev used to give example of the petrol which is there in the car. Because of the petrol, the car moves. But whether the car goes to the right place or it meets with an accident or goes to a wrong place, the petrol is not responsible. Petrol is not doing it. The driver who is there, little crazy, he takes it here and there. Petrol is not crazy. Similarly, the Atma, in a bad person, outwardly the personality bad, same Atma is there. Good person, same Atma is there. It is not doing anything, it is not experiencing anything. So, ya enam vetti hantaram, he who thinks that I am slaying someone, and yaschainam manyate hatam, and he who thinks that I have been slain. Ubhav tauna vijanitaha, both of them do not know the nature of the self. Both of them do not know the real nature of that self, which is untouched by all actions. There is a very beautiful story in one of the Puranas that once Agastya Rishi, he comes near Vrindavan. So all these gopis came to know that he has come a great saint. So let us go and offer him Agastya Rishi or I think Durvasa Rishi. So offer him some food and all, bhiksha. So they go there, but they had to cross the river and it was in flood, so they did not know how to cross. So that time Naradji comes there and they say, how can we cross? So he says, you just pray that if Bhagwan Krishna is always a bachelor, he has never married in his ever, then please give way. And that time Bhagwan Krishna was married and all those things. So they looked at him surprised like, what happened to this Naradji? What type of prayer he is telling us? But he says, but they had faith in him. So they prayed that if Lord Krishna is ever a brahmachari, then please give way. And a strange thing happened. The river parted and it gave way and they crossed the river. And there they gave food to Durvasa Rishi. He had a nice meal. But again when they wanted to go back, the whole river was again in flood. So again they were in a dilemma. So Naradji came and this time Naradji said, you pray that this Durvasa Rishi has never eaten anything in his life. That he is always non-eater. Then you part. He said, अभी तो मांग के और खा लिया उन्होंने. How can we say like? But so then they prayed, and again the river parted and gave. Durvasa Rishi essentially is that Atma only, who has identified with his self, that self never eats. Krishna Bhagwan essentially is that Atma, which is untouched by anything. It is asangaha. This marriage and all is not for that Atma. It is at the level of the body, level of the mind, but Atma remains untouched. So he who says that Atma is doing something and it is being done on the self, both of them do not know. See, this word Atma is being misunderstood in our country a lot. Anything happens, we talk about this Atma, everyone talks. And even they identify Atma with the Bhoot Pret, ek to. Uski Atma bhatakti hai, ऐसी जाती है. भटकती आत्मा, भटकती आत्मा, लटकती आत्मा, सटकती आत्मा. डिफरेंट उपन्यास पहले जमाने में होते थे. People used to read it and get scared like. So Atma, one people misunderstanding, Atma means some ghost. Another we have misunderstanding, Atma means it is some sort of object or something which is existing somewhere in our body. Maybe somewhere between the eyebrows, maybe in the heart, maybe in the stomach, maybe in the kidney, maybe in the somewhere. So we feel that it is some object or something, shining material or something which is existing somewhere. So many people when they ask the doctors also maybe कि आप जब open करते कुछ आत्मा भी मिली क्या आपको? जैसे ने आत्मा तो नहीं मिली but appendix मिल गया. So that is another misunderstanding. Then we have a misunderstanding that okay, it is something which is invisible and all, but it occupies this body and then when a person dies, it goes like and goes into somewhere else. And we in the movies also we find something coming out and then going into some other person and all. So it is not because if it is all pervading, then it is not something which moves in space. Even space exists in that self. It is not a part in space. It is not like an object in space that it goes out from here and moves somewhere else. No. So lot of misunderstanding is there about this Atma. We identify the nature of the body, the mind and all those things, superimpose those ideas on the self. So all this misunderstanding is eliminated, should be eliminated through the study of the scriptures. So Bhagavan says, Ya enam vetti hantaram, one who feels that I am the doer of action, I, the self, is the doer of action,